QR's got no one to blame except themselves.
Paul Pluta is the whistleblower behind documents which revealed the extent of the driver shortage.
It's the executives at QR who should be ashamed of themselves. They should get out of their Statesman, get out of their 5 Series BMW and take the train.
Since the data was collected, the Queensland rail saga has claimed a Transport Minister and a CEO. Now a new minister says she's determined to fix it.
We know that this is not going to be fixed overnight. It's not going to be fixed in a couple of months.
Max Futcher, 7 News.
The head of Queensland Rail has offered an unreserved apology to Brisbane commuters affected by major disruptions today. More than 100 trains were cancelled because of a driver shortage, and it could be months before services return to normal. Live to Anna McDonald at South Brisbane Station. Anna, what's caused today's issues?
Karina, the problem is that not enough drivers are trained to operate the new Redcliffe Peninsula line that opened earlier this month. Now that's had a flow-on effect across the entire Brisbane network that's seen really not enough drivers there to operate the current timetable. That's had a serious effect across the whole network today, as I said, with some 30 services cancelled during the peak hour after work period. Now the hardest hit lines were Redcliffe Peninsula as well as Springfield. Buses will replace trains there tonight. The CEO of Queensland Rail, Helen, says that drivers have even been brought in off their annual leave to try and fix the problem, but obviously that's not sustainable.
The performance of Queensland Rail since the new Redcliffe Peninsula line has opened has been unacceptable, and from our customers' perspective, totally unacceptable. This is my fault, it is Queensland Rail's fault, and we had unrealistic expectations on what crewing we needed to actually deliver this timetable.
The State Transport Minister Sterling Hinchliffe has asked the chair of Queensland Rail to hold an urgent board meeting this weekend. Now, frustratingly for commuters, an interim timetable will be in place, hopefully released by Monday morning, that will reflect reduced services across the network. That timetable will be in place until more drivers are trained.
Okay, Anna McDonald there at South Brisbane Station.
Queensland's Crime and Corruption Commission has helped break open some of the state's biggest cases in recent years. Its secretive coercive hearings have forced witnesses to give up vital information, but some critics say the powers are being overused and go too far.
This is one of Queensland's most secretive rooms. Those called to testify in the so-called Star Chamber have no right to silence. If they refuse to cooperate or lie, they can be jailed.
They're a very powerful tool we use, but we take very seriously the use of them, and we have to convince ourselves that there is a proper basis to use the powers.
Evidence from CCC hearings helped convict 2 men over the McCulkin murders, a crime that had been unsolved since the 70s. In the Tiali Palmer case, the CCC trapped her foster family in a lie. Eventually, they gave up the killer, foster father Rick Thorburn. But while there's widespread support for the Star Chamber's use in major investigations, there's also concern the right to silence is being taken away in low-level cases.
There has to be some balance, a balance between police powers, CCC powers on the one hand and civil liberties on the other.
Over a decade, the number of investigative hearings have quadrupled to more than 340 a year. In 2017, Brisbane YouTuber Paul Pluta leaked top-secret documents detailing problems with Queensland Rail timetables and trains.
Newgen is a huge up.
It's understood he was summoned to the Star Chamber and forced to reveal his source. He's since been charged with allegedly revealing he was called to face a hearing.
It'd be different if you were talking about a terrorist incident, but this was talking about problems within Queensland Rail that needed in the public interest to be disclosed.
People who have access to confidential information are under an obligation of trust not to disclose that without very good reason. If there's, for instance, a belief that they want to blow the whistle, as it were, they should come to us confidentially.
The CCC doesn't release transcripts or recordings of its coercive hearings. In many cases, even telling someone you've been summoned to testify can be an offence. Civil libertarians want the powers reined in, but the CCC insists it's kept in check by the courts and a parliamentary oversight committee. Christian Silva, ABC News.